Okay, yeah, let's call Thursday, February 26th, Board of Trustees for the Grand Marais Library meeting to order. I'm Sarah McManus, Board Chair.
Sue McClone, trustee.
Kevin McGuire, trustee.
Nancy Jaguar, trustee.
Dave Mills, County Commissioner.
Electra Brandwin, Library Director.
Kim Benbeck, Finance Director.
Thank you for being with us tonight, Kim. We don't have anything for the open forum, so let's move forward to the consent agenda, which has the approval of the agenda and the approval of the bills. Anything anyone wants to pull from the consent agenda?
I'll move to approve.
A second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And now we have Kim here to take us through our finances. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Has everyone had a chance to review the statements?
I had to take it off.
So in your financial policy, you wanted to set aside certain amounts for operating expenses, insurance deductible, and technology replacement. And we've put them in, we're looking at this investment page in the 215-10102, which just means restricted cash. So if you add up those things, that is $194,414.39. The remaining balance is what is available to be spent. Would be $61,169.40 as of December. So as I'm looking through your policy for 2026, based on your budgeted expenses, you want to then increase that amount to $127,703.
Increase the 61,000,
The
215-10101.
yeah, this 118,500, which is your operational reserve for 2025. So this will continue each year as your expenses increase. You would need to increase that amount to follow your policy.
Okay.
So our current insurance deductible is $20,000. So you can decide whether you want to leave it at 10 or increase it to 20. And then the carpet replacement will just happen $2,000 each year with the money designated from the city and the county. Okay. We go to the next page, which is the balance sheet in your packet. 211 is your operating expenses, $1,157.18. If you want to keep 50% of your expenses kind of in your cash, that would be a best case scenario. 25 to 50% is what's recommended. And this reasoning is that you get property taxes twice a year, 6 months apart. So you are in very good shape. The next page is your 215 cash. And you can see in your designated funds here on the bottom part, the 118,500 in a restricted balance. You can see the 10,000 in the insurance reserve. You can see 38,000 in carpet fund and the 27,500 for your technology. So those funds will be your placeholders for those items. Okay. We can skip page 3 and go to the revenues for your operating fund. You can see here this 220,410 is what is received from the county. Payment that they do directly around 29,000.
Mhm.
So you can see that the transfer from the general fund is that 30,000 more to make up that difference. And you can see there was a little bit in library fines that were for other libraries. How much revenue was made from copies and book replacement, and then contributions that were not identified for anything but where you wanted them. If you look at the next page is your 215 fund, and this other county grants should be 1,000. I would have to look at my numbers to see why there's an extra 164. And when you look at the year-to-date balance column, you can see like we didn't budget for contributions, but you got 20,000. You had interest earnings of 2,288. Other grants from the Minnesota Foundation, 1,533. Your ALS crossover, 2,884. And then this 1,000 from the city for your carpet fund. This amount below that is 6,000 in earnings from the 215. More of your money markets there. And this 100,000 is that transfer to make your funds according to your financial policy.
Okay.
So, now, if we go to the expenditure guideline, be for 211. These are all the codes that we have for the library for your operating fund. You can see what your budget was in the first column, your December amount, how much was spent year to date in December. And this balance column tells you whether you over budgeted or under budgeted. So you over budgeted 95,597. Now, a lot of that is up there in salaries, and we had, positions that were not filled. So that money stays with the library. That was earmarked for the library. It stays with the library. Is there any questions about any of that?
And then where does that go?
It stays in your library
Stays in the
fund.
211.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. We go to 215 and see the only thing we budget here is that 2,000 that goes into your carpet fund. Everything else is what you spent out of that 215 for various special items. Let's see, capital equipment. I know that included your air source heat pumps, and you have the computer purchase.
Mhm.
Yeah. So do you have any questions?
When, just thinking ahead, because we have to get our budget ready soon to get to the city, to get to the county.
Yeah,
When do we see year-end 2025 numbers?
this is the year end.
This one
25.
is, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. There might be a few adjustments, but the cash will remain the same.
Okay, perfect.
And it would be more about capital things, probably.
Okay.
So our capital is typically, it has to be more than $2,500
Okay.
for that purchase. And it needs to be something that is either new or increases the value of the building or something like that.
And that's, I'm sorry that I didn't hear that. You have, it's either my hearing or your very
Okay.
soft voice. You were saying that that's a capital expense. It has to be more than
$2,500.
$500. And that comes, if it's more than 2,500, it comes out of the 211 or the 215.
The way you've been operating, it's been coming out of 215.
Okay. Okay. That's what I thought, but I
You know.
wanted to.
As time goes on and this 215 maybe dwindles, or we don't get these big endowments like Hazel Matthews or Lydia Miller or Will Storland, the library should start thinking about what is our depreciation schedule and putting that amount aside each month so that when you do have a big purchase, you have that money already saved.
Yes.
And you're not making the levy
Well, I
high
think,
and then low. And
I think that becomes increasingly important these days, to keep that 215 as, should we say, healthy as possible, because, well, if you read the paper this morning, you know that the federal government is trying to cut Medicaid for Minnesota. What that means is, as these things get cut, some local, maybe the county, maybe the city, whatever it is that they have to make up funding for that, we may get less. I'm kind of looking, I mean, we're living in a rather, shall we say, dystopian time, and we just don't know what funding cuts for other services are going to mean for us, the library. Does that make sense?
It's a good point.
So looking at the 215, it looks like we have a balance of 46,000. Is that,
215?
yeah,
No,
It should be more.
the 215 has,
oh, I'm sorry. Wrong column.
okay.
190. Is that-
The 215 has 255,583.79.
Is that on the first page? Is that what you?
That's on this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at what level do you think we might want to put together a capital plan with that?
When I looked at depreciation today, it's in that 47,000
Okay.
area.
Oh, okay.
And right now your cash balance in 211 is very healthy. If you're looking at expenses of, I think it was 510,000 budgeted for 26. You think half of that is in the 250,000? Yeah, you're in very good shape right now to absorb some.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the different accounts that the 215 money is in and why?
Okay. Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the
Postage and
215, we've held it very liquid for a long time. And, you know, the local banks don't seem to want to give us very good interest. So if you want me to move it to the League of Minnesota Cities, I can do that. Our other options would be to put them into CDs or treasuries, but we don't have a lot of options, other places to put them.
Mhm.
So, right,
Is the Magic Fund available to cities? Do you know?
Magic.
It's an acronym.
I haven't heard of the
Okay.
Magic Fund. Is that for counties?
County stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be the League of Minnesota
Okay.
Cities
Okay.
Mhm.
equivalent, I would think.
Yeah.
So currently we can use RBC, the Royal Bank of Canada. We have. I'm working on getting Morton Investments and the League of Minnesota Cities and our local banks.
Huh.
So you can see right now, SSB is Security State Bank. We have remaining in there 41,399.75. I took that 100 out of there to pay for the cash deficit that we had in 215 cash.
Mhm.
And then the The North Shore Federal Credit Union has this 18,500 and this 2,782. So you get that 10% in the patronage account for the 2,700. But that 18,500 is barely making anything. So the library is the only entity that has any money in the North Shore Federal Credit Union for the city right now. So we would be taking that bank out of the mix, but we can do that.
Oh, I see, because the patronage is tied to that
Right.
account.
Right. Yep.
I see.
But for the little bit that we're making on the 18,000, we can put it into the League of Minnesota Cities and do far better.
Let's make some more money here. This is
Okay.
This is silly.
I know that obviously it varies, but what is the rate of return at the moment for the League of Minnesota Cities?
3.4.
I have 3.48. I'm not sure if I looked very closely at that when I printed this,
Oh, I see it here.
but it's in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's doing very
Yeah,
well.
I see it. I'm sorry.
The only thing I'd caution, at least from if this is parallel to the county stuff, is that it's been performing exceptionally well,
Mm-hmm.
and that it's maybe not wise to budget that high. But
Right.
I don't have perspective of what would be appropriate.
Right,
so-
because as you're seeing in the market, the rates are starting to come down.
Okay.
You know, we thought they were going to come down a lot faster, but they're really holding much more steady than we thought.
Yeah.
So you can put them in a CD and then you're locked in at that rate for the term of that. Or you can let it ride in the 4M fund.
So the 4M fund would still be liquid. We would have access to that cash.
Yes. Yep.
And what did you say we'd end up with if we did Royal Bank of Canada?
That would be more CDs. So that would be one that you get locked into.
Yeah, less
I
liquid.
think the last look I did would be the maximum would be 3.9%, which is really very close to what the 4M fund is.
Well, this may be a silly question, but I was just working on the tax for the Grand Marais condos, and we have a couple of CDs and made, well, what for us is a fair amount of money, but we were taxed on it. That's about 30% for us.
Yeah,
for
the city
condos,
is
yeah.
tax exempt, especially the library.
Yeah, so what is our tax rate?
We don't pay taxes.
Oh, you don't pay taxes. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Right.
Okay, well, that's good. Because that created a bit of a hoo-ha. Why were we paying so much in taxes? But so that's good that we don't pay taxes.
Yep.
Thank you.
Anything else for Kim?
No, it helps to have someone just kind of run through it and make us look at it here.
Yeah, no, that's true. And that's good to know. But I'll just go back to what I said before. I think we need to spend out of the 215 for when we need to spend out of it, but we should also be really careful looking ahead, because it could be that the 211 at some point could just shrink. Maybe the county won't have the money to give us, or maybe the city won't have the money to give us.
So the library is 100% a property tax levy.
Yeah.
For both the county and the city.
Oh, for both county and the city. Well, that's good to know. Does the percentage change? Is it a percentage of the taxes levied? Or does that? Do you see what I'm saying?
So we set a dollar amount budget,
Okay.
and then that's applied to the property values overall,
Okay.
and then divided according to the property values.
Well, I guess
Yeah,
now maybe
it's-
So it does change, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
very
see, yeah.
complicated, but the only piece the city has is that dollar amount levy.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I guess my question is, let's say, just for the sake of being silly and using numbers I understand, let's say the county or the city gets, $10 in taxes and has to spread it out. Now, is there a particular rate? Will the library always get $1 of that $10, or does that vary according to the needs?
It's based on what the library's budget is, that
Okay.
dollar amount.
Right.
That's what the library gets, as long as it's passed by the city and the county.
Right.
Right.
I guess my question is, are there mandated things in the city and the county that could impact what the library gets? Say, we want $100 budget, but for example, just to use a round number, that's our budget, but the county, do you have mandated things that you have to pay for? And if your overall, if some of those things become more expensive because you're not, say, getting federal funding, or Medicare is on my mind at the
Mhm.
moment, then could you turn around and say, I'm sorry, library, I know your budget is X, but we just don't have it.
Well, there's a joint powers agreement between the city and the county, and within that, the county must match the city's approved budget if it's less than a 5% increase.
Mhm.
So there's that.
Yeah.
But aside from that, actually, I don't know.
I think to keep it more simple
Yeah,
is the city has all the departments that put in their budget requests
Right.
just like you do.
mhm,
And then as we get toward the final levy, we're looking at places to cut so that we will do a levy between 3 and 5% that won't throw property taxes so high.
okay.
We need to be responsible with
Mhm.
the citizens' dollars. And that's kind of where we like to keep it,
Okay,
where you're keeping up with inflation, but you're not making a huge tax bill for people.
okay. Does the city receive any kind of federal funding for various programs or not?
No,
No, what about the county?
Through the state primarily. There's highway ones, I think, that are purely federal.
How about,
yeah,
how about Medicare and some of these other services?
I think that's through the state.
That's through the state, not the county. Okay.
I mean, the
fund is
the county is the state, but it's
Yeah.
the funding's through the state. Yeah, the county is an arm of the state, but our Medicaid, Medicare stuff comes through the state rather than funding from the feds. But the feds goes to the state,
Right,
And
and
the
the
state
feds do
goes
not
to
want
the
to
county.
give any to the state right now.
right?
So does that mean the county will just,
We'll see what the state does.
yeah,
That's kind of the next step.
yeah. But you see where I'm going with
Oh
this,
yeah. Well, no, yeah. You can go forever is the thing.
Yeah, well,
And you got to just kind of shore up what we can and
right, okay,
uh,
but that's just it.
do
We
it. Yeah,
need to be aware that we're gonna maybe have
absolutely.
to shore things up.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There
I-
was
I-
there
yeah.
was another, with the SNAP benefits,
Mhm.
it got resolved, and it was stressful, and there were impacts, and
Yeah.
so it's no, it's
I
coming.
don't want to make this more complicated than it needs to be. It's just, I do worry about, we're looking at just
Sure,
hard times.
sure.
Thank you for this
You're welcome.
overview.
I
Answering
really
some of our
appreciate it.
lingering
Thank you.
questions.
you're welcome.
Thanks, Kim. Bye. Have a good night. Lost my agenda.
That was very helpful.
Yeah.
It's all there all the time for us to look at, but it kind of helps to have someone make you look at it.
No, that's true. That's really true.
And, you know, they can always get reacquainted too, you know, just good to get refreshers.
For sure.
So I'm taking minutes in Enno's absence, and I just wanted to circle back. Were any decisions made about Kim's recommendation to increase the amount in the operational reserve, the 25% from 118 to 127? And were you making any decisions about the NSFCU funds or in the FM 4M funds?
Any decisions?
No, we just shook our heads and nodded. We didn't decide
Great.
anything.
Can you say the first?
In the financial policy, the operational reserve is set to be about 25% of the library's operating expenses. That's a goal that the trustees set. In 2025, that amount was $118,500. With the current budget, 25% would actually look like $127,703.
Yeah.
But that money would have to be moved. And I think that's what Kim was asking.
Okay. Well, I think we should stay within policy, so we'd want to do that
Yes.
for sure.
Take her advice here.
Yeah.
Is that a motion to amend the policy? To update the policy with the
No,
correct
No,
year?
it's just a matter of
just-
follow the policy.
It's
Just
just
follow it,
policy,
because
yeah.
this is just a sample number.
Yeah, that was last year's, right? Or-
Yep.
It was the 25, wasn't it the 25% or?
25% doesn't change
Right.
the year and the numbers change, which doesn't require a policy update.
Yeah.
So
And so I don't think we need a motion for that direction, but I'm happy to if you do.
If the policy is working the way that we want, that's really,
Yeah.
Okay.
that's good to know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And then did we want to move any of the, or do you want to think about, do we want to move any of the funds to the higher interest account?
I'm all for getting higher interest. I don't see what's wrong with what's dangerous about it. I suppose you don't want to put too many things in one place,
The
but
one thing that she
just-
pointed out is it has to be somewhat liquid. You know, if you tie up $100,000 and get 4% or 3.5%, you know, then it's tied up for that time, you know, and then you don't have it to use. So you have to be careful about, you know, flow and
Yeah. So that top fund, the League of Minnesota Cities 4M fund at the just under 3.5%, she said was a liquid account.
Yeah.
As opposed to a CD.
yes.
Yeah,
so we should have money in there as opposed to getting 0.9% in
yes.
Security State Bank. That's a lot of money making no money.
That's terrible, 0.9%.
Well, any account that you have, either security or Grand Marais State Bank is going to get that, you know, 1% or
So that looks
less.
like it's our checking.
Yeah, it's a checking account. If that's what it would be at Grand Marais State
Mhm.
Bank.
I'm curious about this 10%. That's the patronage rebate.
Yeah.
And so we need the other account to have that.
Yes.
Mhm.
And that'll just grow, presumably,
But it's growing on only
right?
2,700.
It's not much money, but it's good interest on what's in there.
Well,
But how do
it's on the 18,492, so it's not a lot of money in
No,
there either.
No,
Well, the patronage, right, yeah.
I'd be curious to how to maximize that, or is that not a thing?
Mm.
Like, I know we have it personally,
Well-
but I thought it was based on like a mortgage. So that wouldn't apply
I
here.
think if we wanted to get a better return, we'd have to go to a CD or a money market account or something, and then that would be less liquid.
Mhm. Well, can we put some in that, what is it,
In the 4M.
in the 4M? If it's liquid?
Oh, I think that might be the magic fund, the 4M.
It's got an M in it. 4 times magic.
Does Kim move this money around or who does it?
She did.
She does.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I think that's fine.
Can we just ask him her best advice about how much to move?
Yeah, we should have done that while she was sitting here,
Yeah, we
but,
should have.
Well, I think
but we still can.
yeah, and I think she was suggesting we move the credit union's 18,000
Yeah,
to the 4M.
let's
Yeah.
verify that. And if she verifies it, let's do it.
Sounds good.
We're verifying, did Kim recommend to move 18,515 to the forum fund? And if yes, do it.
Yes.
Yes.
And what about the 2,000? You're
That's
wanting that to
basic.
stay where it is?
I think we have to have a credit union account to keep that.
Okay.
So that may be a clarifying point. Does the 2,000 move with it or does it stay?
Do we need to make a
Would
motion? or-
one of the outcomes cause you to have a different decision? Like if she says, yes, it stays with it, everything's got to go.
No, I guess I was just wondering if there's a way to maximize that differently, but I doubt it. So probably just all goes, I'm guessing.
Should we just ask to maximize the funds?
Mhm.
There you go.
Okay.
Does that need to be moved or not? Moved or seconded and all of that formal?
I'll move to
Okay.
do it.
Move to maximize?
Move to maximize. I'll second to maximize.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay. All right. And that brings us to the boilers replacement. Speaking of money.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so just a slight bit of context. In 2022, Jamar Company was here and they did a heating system assessment for the library. And at that time, they shared that our boilers were installed in 2011 and that they were showing their age. They recommended that somewhere down the road we would need replacement, but they were not willing to provide an estimate on its life cycle. The group that often has come through and done an annual inspection or test on our equipment is maybe going out of business or not servicing us. And they noted that the unit we have is one that is that the unit, the boiler unit is going out of manufacture. So that prompted our conversation to look at what it would take to replace the boilers. There's not a lot of news to report yet. I have asked 2 local companies. One is only focusing on residential work. And I also contacted Jamar.
Okay.
Is there a possibility to use electric boilers?
Can I ask?
Church runs on electric boilers for a long time. Maybe 50 years. I don't know, it's a long time. It's an old system, but it's all electric. It has the potential to run, regular burning, so it's a dual fuel system. We've never, well, almost never used the oil.
Mhm.
We do fuel too, and we do end up switching between them.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, there's the off-peak and then there's the dual fuel. So either one could maybe be an option. I think maybe the system has to be designed for the off-peak though. Like if there's in-floor heat, it might be enough mass, but it wasn't designed for it. Or, I don't know.
Do you like that
Yeah.
dual fuel system? I mean, is it?
Well, we have to, because, sometimes there's not electricity.
Right.
Sorry.
But it happens.
It happens.
It does happen.
Yeah, but I think, you bring up off-peak. I can't see off-peak for a public building like this. I mean, it gets real warm at night and then real cold in the day, so.
Yeah.
When I spoke with Lenny about the boiler, he had an expressed interest in having a propane option just to round out what's available in the library. We also have 2 boilers and they create a redundancy that we've relied on. And so he's interested in a scenario that retains that.
So 2011 is not really a massively old boiler. Are you worried?
I'm not at this point worried. So you can see some of the problems that were articulated in this report, including the neutralizer assemblies. And we took care of those and had them replaced in 2024. The corrosion is still there that you can see in the photos. That's there. I think the last, if I'm remembering correctly, the last significant repair I had on them was in 2024 in November. And they kept shorting out. They kept needing to be reset. And there was a wire or a thing that needed to be repaired. And they've been stable since that point.
Because even though the company's going out of business, it's the owner of a resort with all sorts of heating equipment that's gone out of business quite a long time ago. Things do continue for a long time, even when the company's out of business. Parts can be found. People around here are pretty accustomed to figuring out how to do without, and you might not be at the end of life here. I mean, you have to think about it, I realize that, but 2011 is actually not super old.
I think the average age for commercial boilers is 15 to 30, and this is 15.
The churches is at least 50.
Yeah, ours is
And
30.
it's getting difficult to parks and things like that.
Yeah.
It's actually the best winter we've had since I've been the treasurer. Because it hasn't broken down yet.
Any other direction for elector regarding the boilers?
I intend just to follow through with getting some quotes and have a,
Yeah.
have a
I think so.
baseline.
Yeah.
Okay,
Quotes and options.
sure.
You might as well be informed about what maybe you don't need to, but the more you know, the more prepared you are.
So the other boiler is propane, right? We have 2 boilers.
Yep.
Yep.
They're identical and they're both
Mhm.
propane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so was Lenny wanting both to be propane, or just at least one of them?
Just having the flexibility to rely on propane and electrical
Yeah.
situations. Yeah.
Both boilers though, or just the one?
Well, I think the
Just,
one.
just having the option, the
Okay.
possibility.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So maybe dual
Options are
fuel
good.
will be an option,
Mhm.
but let's see what they say.
All right, so moving on, strategic plan implementation. We had looked at different areas of priority Finance was one we agreed to look at first. We had Kim here. I think that was really helpful for all of us. I think if you want to think about what we want to do for Q2 or a board activity that moves the strategic plan forward, that would be great. And we can discuss in March and then act on it in April.
What would you suggest?
It's a good question. Focus area 2 is so nice, the finances.
Let's see what.
Yeah, did we determine another area?
Or I think we wanted to work in on something in all the areas. If we wanted to do a survey, I think thinking about what it is we want to achieve from a survey would be a good step
Is
forward.
that's part of outreach?
As part of the outreach one. But thinking about the community engagement generally, I think would be good.
Well, one of the things I've been thinking is if we want to have some outreach to Portage, Grand Portage, we could just start by determining who we'd like to talk to up there. Would we like to talk to, let's say, people in the preschool? Would we like to talk to people in, the higher grades? Are there other areas? I don't know, maybe the senior center, whatever. But just talk to people and see what the folks running those places or working with those particular ages see as something the library could do that would be useful. Because I think sometimes I've been in other groups where people talked about, well, we have to outreach to this or that, but they really didn't necessarily go to the people and say, what do you need? I mean, I think it's a simple first step.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that could be a survey. Maybe that could be some interviews. Maybe there are different ways of doing it. But if we determine to whom we want to reach out before we think about how to do it, we ought to ask them what they want.
What kind of outreach would
Yeah.
actually be beneficial? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What current partnerships do we have with Grand Portage?
We did have an exchange with Oshki Ogmog. And sometimes the library would go there and sometimes the students would come here. And we have not been maintaining that during the transition of staffing.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other question is who's going to do it?
Can only do so much.
But it still wouldn't hurt to at least find out what people might want and think about how to do it when and if we have the staff to do it.
Yeah, it's just the setting expectations, right? You
Well,
want to
you're
start
right
something.
about that. You're right about that.
Be good to follow through. So wouldn't want to start something and then just
No, you're absolutely right about that.
So maybe our discussion point for next time should be outreach survey implementation, something like that. Is that where people are going with this? I mean, we aren't even sure what we want to survey
Yeah,
or who.
I think that would be a good first step is what do we hope to achieve from a survey?
Yeah.
And then who would we want to
Yeah,
ask?
let's make that what we discuss next time, and we can think about it a little ahead of time.
Mm-hmm. And then we're ready for electus report. Okay.
The professional security camera system is installed and operational, and we've received some training on footage retrieval, and their configuration, I believe, is now set up and complete. So with some staff training pending, that project is complete.
It's great.
Yeah. Winter reading program is going on. And on February 20th, we delivered our first prize basket for the adult programs, and Amanda Weberg was here to collect a breakfast bundle basket. That was so much fun. Tomorrow after 3, we'll do another drawing for the adults. There are 6 prize baskets total, and they're all lined up over here if you'd like to see them on your way out. And staff did a great job of curating the materials in each of the themed baskets. The adults are also getting to choose from 2 books from what we have on hand for them to look at. The youth program, we're really encouraging a strong reading response, and with the first bingo, each youth gets a piece of candy as well as a Drury Lane gift certificate. And then as each of the bingos are turned in, they get another incentive prize, a small prize. But starting March 1, they can return their bingo cards for their grand prize. So anytime during the month of March, they can claim those. We've got all the prizes staged in the back and set up for everyone to come in and choose what they're interested in. So, in the technology area, we talked before in 2024 or early 2025 that there's a U.S. Department of Justice final rule under Title II of the ADA that requires state and local governments to meet certain accessibility standards by April 26th of 2027. So I'm doing the work of vetting web administrators who could provide us with helping us meet those standards, checking that we're meeting accessibility standards and needs is something that the library does on a rotating basis, but we want to make sure that we're in particular aligned with the law. As I've been speaking with some of the vendors, secondary things that are coming up is that the code in our website is likely very outdated. It's not very, like I'm wondering if it doesn't quite meet current possibilities for responsiveness on
It's not
devices.
responsive in any way.
No.
It is like the world's oldest website.
And we also have many links and pages that are broken, and I've been trying to get support for those for some time. Oftentimes, the person who's willing to work on the website wants to have it, they want to have the full management of the website so that everything is in their control. The coding is fresh and up to date, and it's simple for them to go in and apply changes that meet our expectations and needs. So a big part of the conversation I've been having is that the vendors want to transport our website from our server to their hosting, and they want to rebuild it, which they believe would take 4 to 6 weeks on average. I'm not looking to completely redesign, but it will change the look of the website as it's transitioned. And so that would let them get the coding updated.
And so then you're going to have a hosting cost also, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's-
We do have a hosting cost right now, right? It's being hosted somewhere, but the cost is quite small. I have to check on what it is. And we were with, so Patrick Knight, who was with the city, has our website hosted in the same place that they did have the city's website, but we weren't able to get the level of responsiveness for actually maintaining the site. So we need the support.
So what's the city doing?
Hmm?
What's the city doing about their website?
They just updated with Catalyst, I think, or might not be Catalyst. There's a group that just updated the website.
Okay,
And I have their contact information and can reach out.
cool.
Yep.
And then does ALS have any suggestions, or
That's a good question.
and maybe just hitting the other libraries' websites and seeing what they're like could give
I
potential ideas.
contacted Visit Cook County as well. I really like what they have. I've contacted Sweetwater
Mhm.
Design and Sundew Technology, a group called Streamline, a group called Sprout. Any other suggestions, questions?
I will tell you, there are huge, immense variations in what people charge for hosting.
Hmm.
So that's going to be something to keep an eye on.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's true. I'm finding that as well. One outfit that I've talked to was in the $10,000 range, and another was closer to $100 a month.
Was that $10,000? What, per year or for? Okay.
Yep.
Is there a national? I would think that if it's a federal compliance,
Hmm.
there could be a federal resource to tap into. Maybe you'd wish. Maybe not dollars, but
Well, I don't know. You know, the federal government has requirements on all ADA, how the door has to be, all that stuff, and there's no resources there. You have to find your own, and then they have to comply.
I see.
So I think that's probably what this is too.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. The current website helped me a lot, and I was looking for a newspaper from 1916 that hadn't been digitized. And I realized by looking at this website that it had been digitized. It was not indexed, but it was digitized. So I could download it, the one paper that I wanted, the first Sunday in March of 1916. And I had to read the whole paper to find what I wanted to. But I found it.
Well,
So it
that's-
does,
that's
it works.
Mhm.
Even though it's outdated and has its problems, it works.
Mhm.
Yeah.
A couple years before, I had found that the French language newspaper that was published in Minneapolis was already digitized and already indexed, so I could find what I wanted in there, but it wasn't French. Well, of course, it was no problem. But the Minneapolis paper came out with the same article, except that they had the coroner talk about it, and they had interviewed him, and he had a comment. So I could say to my second cousin, "See, you're all wrong. Look at this."
There was a French language paper in Minneapolis?
For many years,
Really?
yes. When I got back from the army, the Our Lady of Lourdes Church was still called the French Church, and the pastor came from Montreal.
Uh-huh.
They stopped doing that in the around 1980. And my dad hated it when he was a little boy because he couldn't understand what was going on because they didn't want him to speak French.
so anyway, you're going to be continuing to find us some information on this, and it's a work in progress.
Yep, I'm going to come back with some quotes and talk about the options that are available and make a recommendation, and we'll go forward from there.
I think this is a good timeline. We're starting it now, so you've got a good cushion.
Have any of the other libraries in the Arrowhead been working on their websites, and who might they recommend if they have? You know me, I'm always sort of lazy. I find out what other people use other people's work.
It's called Admire and Acquire.
Pardon?
I like that.
Admire and Acquire.
Oh, I didn't know it had
There's
a
lots
name.
of websites in town, and I don't know. Doesn't Boreal?
But there's probably
They don't
federal
post anymore.
requirements for public.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand.
I don't know that they would.
It'd be interesting to know if other libraries, both in the Arrowhead and
Mhm.
especially, but maybe even bigger libraries like it in Duluth or
Mhm. Were you suggesting Boreal could make it?
No, I'm thinking they can host, I think.
They quit.
They
That was a big deal
Okay,
for all
okay,
of us in
okay,
town.
okay.
They quit.
Oh,
There
they
was a
quit.
small group of a couple women who started a small local hosting for a couple years that was really pretty good
Mhm.
and very affordable. And then we were all just struggling when they decided, no, I don't think I can make any money this way. So that's why we were all kind of consistently with the same provider, and
Mhm.
Mhm.
everybody had to struggle to find something. So that isn't an option.
Okay, anything else for Electra? On to communications, we have the fund statements from the St. Paul, Minnesota Foundation and Boreal Waters. Any questions on those? All right. There being nothing further, we are adjourned.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you.
all. It's like 60 degrees warmer than when we were here last month.
Yeah. And today was warm too. Tomorrow's
Yeah.
really gonna be warm. Tomorrow's gonna be ski trail rooming warm.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Marty.
I just heard, huh.